Hey, in this video, I'm going to talk about the number one reason velocity banking fails, which almost nobody is tracking this. Let's get it. Velocity banking doesn't fall apart because the math is wrong. It falls apart because most people have no idea where their money actually goes. And I don't mean the big bills that you remember paying. I'm talking about the tiny day-to-day things that slipped right past your awareness. You look at your velocity banking plan, and on paper, it probably looks flawless. The payoff schedule makes sense. The HELOC strategy checks out. The spreadsheet looks like a fast track to financial freedom. But then real life steps in and it starts chipping away at that plan one swipe at a time. It's a couple of small Amazon purchases that you forgot you made. It's grabbing lunch because you didn't have time to cook. Maybe it's the delivery fee that you justified because it was only a few bucks. Probably the subscription that you thought you canceled, but apparently didn't. None of these feel like a big deal in the moment, but collectively they eat away the exact dollars you were counting on for your lump sum payments. And the worst part, this happens quietly. You get to the end of the month thinking, I did everything right. Why is there nothing left over? And that blind spot, the spending you forgot about, is the thing that derails more velocity banking attempts than anything else. Hey, I'm Adam Carroll, founder of the Shred Method. I've spent years helping homeowners take control of their mortgages, paying them down or off in record time, and using strategies like the one I'm about to share with you to start building real wealth in record time. In this video, what I'm going to show you is how to fix this one small habit, which can turn velocity banking from something that should work into something that absolutely does. Why velocity banking really fails and the psychology behind it. When people first discover velocity banking, the Shred Method, they get excited because the math feels almost too good to be true. We have people tell us this feels like magic, when in reality, it is just math. You see, you're using the bank's money strategically. You're going to move your income through a HELOC, and suddenly the idea of paying off your mortgage in a fraction of the time feels real. Our system is elegant, it's efficient, and for a lot of folks, it is the first time that they've ever felt like money is actually working for them instead of working against them. But here's a part of the strategy that doesn't get talked about enough, and it's the thing that quietly determines whether the whole system works or whether it stalls out. You need to know what your cash flow is doing, not in theory, not on a spreadsheet, but in real life. And I will be totally candid with you. In my 20s, I didn't track any of it. Budgeting sucked for me. I would have rather stuck my head in the sand than look closely at where any of my money was going. And that avoidance, it cost me. I racked up tens of thousands of dollars in debt, not because I was reckless necessarily, but because I had absolutely no awareness of what was coming in or what was going out. And that's what I learned, something most people never connect to the Shred Method or velocity banking strategies. You don't have to be great with money. You have to be aware of your money, and awareness is very different from budgeting. The reason so many people struggle with cash flow isn't discipline. The truth is, our entire financial system is engineered to make spending feel effortless. A few decades ago, you would have felt every single dollar you spent because it left your hand physically. There was a moment of awareness when you're handing over a 20 or a 50 or $100 bill. Today, everything is one swipe or one tap of the watch away. There's no friction, there's no pause, there's no emotional signal that says, hey, a huge chunk of money just left your account. In fact, the opposite is true. When you place an order on Amazon, a part of your brain lights up that is in positive anticipation of that thing arriving. There's no pain sensor that's triggered, only pleasure when we spend money online. So when spending doesn't feel real, the brain treats it as insignificant. That's why tiny purchases just get deleted from memory. That's why people say, I don't even remember buying half of this stuff. They're not lying. It's just simply how the brain processes low friction decisions. So add a checking account into this mix. If there is what some people call extra money sitting there, nothing is telling your brain to slow down. The balance doesn't change meaningfully when you overspend by $50 or in some cases even $500. So your brain never really connects the dots. That behavior just stays invisible. And this is exactly why cash flow tracking is so critical, not to micromanage your life and not to restrict your spending necessarily, but to bring the invisible back into view. We call it unconscious consumption. When you interrupt the autopilot spending long enough for your brain to acknowledge, hey, this actually counts, this is going to affect my month and my ability to shred debt. When people make that shift, when they start noticing that their cash is actually going out the door, everything downstream begins to accelerate. Lump sum payments start happening earlier, HELOC balances drop faster, the principal collapses on your mortgage in big, meaningful chunks. The entire system feels smoother and more predictable. And it's not because a shredder has changed their lifestyle, but because they finally changed their awareness. And that is the real reason that velocity banking fails for most people. It's not the math, it's not the structure, it's not the HELOC was chosen. It is the invisibility of their cash flow. And once you fix that, everything else starts working exactly the way the strategy was designed to. How to track cash flow without budgeting, and why shredders use a credit card. Once you understand that invisible cash flow is the thing slowing velocity banking down, the natural question becomes, okay, Adam, how do I actually stay aware of my money without turning into someone who budgets every single day? Because again, candidly, that sounds sucky. I don't want to do it. I don't think you do either. This is where people usually breathe a sigh of relief, because the answer is far simpler than they expect. The first thing I want to make clear is that cash flow tracking is not budgeting. I'm not asking you to categorize every latte or save all your receipts in a shoebox. Tracking your cash flow is really about understanding how money moves through your life, what's coming in, what's going out, and whether there is enough margin left at the end of the month to make this system run the way it's supposed to. It is awareness. It is not restriction. Although through awareness, a natural restriction will likely occur. And the simplest, most dead effective tool you can use to build that awareness is the same tool that most of us already use every day. It is a credit card. Now, I know that sounds counterintuitive, and some of you may even leave a comment saying this is irresponsible, because for years we've all heard that credit cards are dangerous or that they lead to overspending. And yes, used in the wrong way, they absolutely can create that scenario. But shredders don't use a credit card as a way to finance their life. They use it as a way to track their life. And here's why it actually works so well. When you spend directly from a checking account, everything feels vague. If there's some extra money sitting in there, nothing tells your brain to slow down. A $10 purchase barely nudges the balance, and a $100 purchase probably doesn't feel all that different. So there's no built-in signal that you are going wildly off course. But a credit card gives you one clear number. It is a running total that updates every time you swipe. And that single number is incredibly helpful, because if you normally spend around $3,000 or $3,500 a month on gas, groceries, dining out, and household expenses, then checking that balance once or twice a week immediately tells you where you stand. If it's early in the month and you're already halfway to your normal total, that is your indicator you need to slow down, not as a punishment, just as information. So the card brings visibility to your spending in a way that your checking account never will. It turns invisible cash flow into something that you can actually see. Every minute transaction adds to that total. But there's another advantage too. When all your day-to-day spending happens on a card, your checking account stays clean. It becomes the landing zone for your income, stable, predictable, untouched by small daily transactions. And that means you can sweep money into your HELOC clearly, lower the balance faster, and let that velocity banking engine work exactly the way it's supposed to. So the credit card becomes your awareness tool, your checking account becomes your income funnel, and the HELOC becomes the accelerator. This setup doesn't make your life more complicated, or it shouldn't if you've done it right. It actually should make your entire financial life simpler. The tracking happens automatically. The awareness becomes effortless, and the system becomes far more predictable, which is exactly what most people are missing. What happens when you fix your cash flow? The flywheel effect. Once you start seeing your cash flow clearly, and I mean really seeing it, not estimating it or guessing your way through the month, the entire velocity banking strategy starts to feel different. It becomes smoother, more predictable, and honestly, a whole lot more exciting. The first change people usually notice is speed. Suddenly, those lump sum payments you kept missing before, they start happening on time, and sometimes earlier than you planned. So instead of saying, where did all my money go this month? You find yourself saying, I can actually make the transfer right now. And that moment, the moment when you send a chunk of money from your HELOC, that's where the flywheel starts to turn. There's another layer to this that most people overlook, and that is the perks. You know, when you run your everyday expenses through a well-chosen credit card, you're not just tracking your spending, you're earning value back from spending that you were going to do anyway. Whether that's cash back, travel points, reward credits, or perks like free hotel nights, airline miles, or even cups of coffee. The card essentially pays you for being intentional. So it becomes a system where your awareness improves, your cash flow becomes clearer, and you get rewarded for the very behavior that makes velocity banking work better. Then something else happens. Because your HELOC balance drops faster, your interest costs drop with it. Every dollar you move lowers that balance, which lowers the interest, which frees up more money the next month. And now you're not just paying down debt, you're building momentum month after month after month. So if it starts slow, it's okay. It will get faster over time. What you're doing is you're creating a system where every decision you make today is going to accelerate your progress tomorrow. This is a very real, very tangible shift. And if you are ready to make that shift, you must check out the Shred Method. People tell me all the time, Adam, for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm in control of my money instead of reacting to it. And that's exactly what fixing your cash flow does. It takes the guesswork out of money. It takes the stress out of the end of the month. It gives you a level of predictability that most households never get to experience. And here's what I love absolutely most. Nothing about your lifestyle has to dramatically change. You're not cutting your life in half. I am not a beans and rice guy. I am a steak and red wine guy. So you do not have to deprive yourself. You're simply making your money visible, and visible money behaves differently. And once that visibility is in place, your mortgage payoff timeline starts collapsing in front of you. Balances fall in big, satisfying jumps instead of slow, painful drips. And you start seeing this real progress every single month, and that progress will fuel your motivation. That is the flywheel in motion. Awareness leads to action. Action leads to acceleration. Acceleration leads to freedom. And it all starts with something as simple as knowing what your cash is doing. When you really step back and you look at this entire Shred Method process, it's easy to assume the strategy lives or dies based on the HELOC or the timing or the exact structure of the math. But what actually determines whether this works for you long-term is so much simpler. It is your awareness to where your money is going. It is about removing unconscious consumption and being very conscious and very intentional about how your money moves. Because once you can see your cash flow clearly, everything else falls into place. Surprises disappear, pressure at the end of the month goes away, and your mortgage payoff timeline stops feeling like some distant dream, and it starts looking like something that you can genuinely accomplish. So this isn't about turning your life upside down or becoming a budgeting fanatic. It's about understanding the movement of your money well enough that you can finally use it the way the strategy was designed to use it, intentionally, consistently, and with confidence. And if you want a system that shows you exactly how to do this, how to use your income more efficiently, how to funnel your cash in the right direction, and how to create a true wealth flywheel that accelerates every single month, that is exactly what we built the Shred Method for. It's the same approach that I used to get out of debt years ago. It's the same system thousands of people use today to pay down their mortgages in record time. And it's built for real life, not for perfect budgeting. So if you want to see how all this works step by step, how to track your money, how to make your HELOC work, how to shave years off your mortgage, go to theshredmethod.com. That's where I break down everything in detail and show you how to put this strategy into motion in your own life. Hey, I'm Adam Carroll. Thank you for watching these videos. Drop a like and subscribe if you found value, and send it to a friend that needs to see it. We're trying to get out there and create 1 million folks who have created freedom in their life. And the more people that see this video, the better. I'll see you in the next one.